Alright, well, I'm back sooner than I expected to be. I just tested something. This is going to be a quick video, but what you're looking at here is a label of a cigar. This one is a Joya de Habana, and they're not a super well-known brand, but I've heard of them before, and on the recommendation of one of the people who works in the tobacconist shop near me, I decided to try it out. I think this was about a $6 stick. It was a Toro. It was a 6x50, I want to say. It was decent. I'm not a very well-developed smoker. I mean, I would say I'm an occasional smoker at best. I really only smoke them on particular occasions, but I had a really good, really nice thing happen in my work life, pretty big accomplishment, and I decided it was, it was time to make a trip to this smoke shop. So I got one, and I wasn't looking to drop too much money on it, but I gave it a try, and it was certainly decent. It was fine. But I picked up a couple of them, and I decided after I had finished that one, this was probably not the smartest idea, but I decided I needed to test something. I just needed to know, and that is, does it really matter if you light your cigar with a Zippo? Does it really matter? Or, I mean, is it okay? Is it going to affect it? Or do you really need to stick with something like a torch lighter? Now, for those of you who, I just turned out my light. I have one of those lights where you tap it, you just give it a tap. Anyway, sorry about that. So, those of you who aren't into cigars probably couldn't care less, but let me just tell you that, generally speaking, people in the industry will tell you to shy away from these, that they will, they have a really strong smell, odor, comes from the lighter fluid in them, and they will tell you, shy away from these, stay away from them, because they'll impart a bad taste into the cigar. And, these, on the other hand, they use like a pure fuel, right? So you can just, they're very pure, and they're very directed. It's great, very nice for lighting a cigar. But sometimes you don't want such a harsh flame. Those get very hot very quickly, and you got to be careful. These you can sort of take your time with it, be a little bit more slow. But the problem is that smell and the taste. Again, a lot of people say, it'll just ruin your cigar. It'll mess up your senses. It'll leave a bad taste inside the cigar. You just want to avoid it. Like I said, I'm kind of an occasional smoker, so I don't really have an extremely well-developed palate. I wanted to see if someone with my experience level with cigars would notice the difference. And so what I just did was, like I said, after I had one of these, I went ahead and lit up another one. I got a couple of them. I actually got like 4. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I got 4. So don't kill me. Whatever. I should have bought them in box, but whatever. Like I said, I'm occasional. It usually doesn't make much sense for me to buy them in bulk. Yeah, I picked up a few of them, and I decided to burn right through another one, which was, like I said, maybe not the best idea because I can handle one, but with the amount of smoking experience I have, 2 kind of laid me out. Anyway, yeah, I would say this is about a medium strength. Light to medium. Actually, it's not that bad. It's bad when you've had 2 of them. It's not that bad when you only have 1. Yeah, what can I say? Well, end result is, yeah, you can taste it. I wish there was some way I could tell you. I didn't even think to make this video until after the fact, so I'm sorry that I don't have like in the moment like a video journal of my thoughts as I'm doing it. Maybe I'll do one, but I'm not going to today at the very least. Bottom line is, yeah, you can kind of taste the difference. Is it like huge, profound, will it ruin your experience? No. My experience with this was that after like maybe, not even the first third, after maybe like the first fifth of the cigar, the Zippo taste is like completely gone, the smell is pretty much gone, you're good to go. That was my experience. It might ruin the first few puffs. The first 10, 15 minutes maybe of your cigar aren't going to be as enjoyable as they might otherwise be, but, like everything else in life, it's really a question of how much do you care about the fine details. I mean, I can think of like, are you the kind of person who gets so obsessive over the first few puffs of a cigar that this is going to be enough to deter you? And if you are, I'd stay away from it because, yeah, you can notice it. But, if you're in a bind or you just don't care that much, you're going to suffer through the first few puffs or just generally doesn't bother you, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd say go ahead, use it. But, you know, one thing that you might keep in mind, especially if you're in a windy environment, I know Zippos are great. I could make an entire video just on my love of Zippos. They're great. They're fantastic. I have so much love for them. It's like kind of obscene. It's they're wonderful. The downside to them is, even though they do work in the wind and they're windproof, they are not as windproof as these. Let me just tell you that right now. One of these will cost you more money than a Zippo, depending on how much you want to pay, a lot more than a Zippo. But if you try and extinguish this in the wind, if you blow on it, like, I'm sorry, it's not going to go out. In most circumstances when you're lighting this, that's not going to go out. And this might, at the very least, it's going to make it a lot harder to light your cigar. This is not a problem. If you're indoors, which is something I can't do, but if you're indoors, then, you know, whatever works. But that's something to keep in mind. Even though these are quote-unquote windproof, if you're in windy environments, I would still shy away from these. But all in all, yeah, it'll leave a little bit of a taste. But don't freak out about it. People over-exaggerate. Is that even a word, over-exaggerate? Anyway, people exaggerate about how bad the use of a Zippo is in lighting your cigar. I wouldn't worry about it unless you're just a perfectionist. And you might be. And, you know, if that's your thing, great, go for it. Avoid these. Stick with one of these or stick with a match. But for most people, especially like the occasional smoker such as myself, you're probably not going to notice too much of a difference. And the difference is not going to last very long. So that's my rambling on 7-minute way of saying, no, it doesn't really matter. It matters a little bit, but not much. So those are just my thoughts. And if you happen to be in a smoke shop and you see this, the Hoya de Habana, feel free to check it out. It's an alright smoke. It's not especially great, but it's you know, it's decent. I found it enjoyable. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. Zippo versus like a jet torch or like a match. Not a big difference. A little bit, but not a big difference. So I wouldn't worry too much about it if you have to use a Zippo. Those are just my thoughts. As always, hoping to give you just a little bit of a different take, a little bit of a different perspective. The next time I think of something interesting to film, I'll talk to you guys later. And thanks for watching.